The Melbourne International three-day event now moves into phase 2, from the precise technical discipline and etiquette of the dressage to the rough and tumble phase, the cross-country, 6 kilometres, 27 obstacles. This is one of them. This one is called the Lover's Seat. A lot of the competitors have found this a lot more daunting than they expected, including the former world champ, Lucinda Green.
I've come 13,000 miles all the way to Werribee Park near Melbourne to find a pretty tough cross-country course awaiting us. One or two of them are not too bad, straightforward fences. Let's hope the first one is going to prove to be one of these. Very picturesque fence. It's almost like jumping through somebody's front gate under an arch. The horses will look a bit. If I was advising any riders and myself, I would say be careful. They may just duck their heads when they're going under that roof and they may just hit the fence. We move on then through some pretty big fences to number 8, which is the Olympic symbol fence, and it's in the shape of the Olympic flames. It's a very long distance for the horse between the first and second element and second and the third element. It's a very long one non-jumping stride, and it's going to require very bold riding, or alternatively, if you've got a short striding horse, coming very, very slowly, but they're big jumps to come in slowly at. The next one we'll see is number 12, which is the bottom of a terrifically steep slide. I haven't been down anything quite as steep as that. I had to ask the Australians how best to ride it, and they said, oh, just canter to the edge and the horse will sit down and pop down it, so I hope they do. But at the bottom is a fence that's called Ken Smile, which I guess has something to do with Ken Gelbot, one of the co-course builders. And then we come on through a big hawthorn hedge, rather like we might see hunting at home, to this fence here, which is one of the 2 big problem fences that I want to take you through. From first sighting, it looks nothing. It looks like an 18-inch high log, and it looks like that to the horse too. And that's all it is, but the other side, there's quite a big drop, which in itself isn't too much of a problem. What is a problem, that as you land with quite a lot of force of a few hundredweight of horse behind you, you've got to turn him off the line to which he thinks he's going to go, which is straight on, and get him to come into this very, very big oxer. The biggest problem I see, particularly on one of my horses, Rich Recluse, who has a left drift, is that if you can't get them round in time to jump the right-hand side, you'll end up jumping here, which is a very, very big drop. It's a massive fence. If I go around the other side, you can hardly see my head above that rail. There is what we call a slightly easier way out, but it involves an awful lot of pulling up, round under that tree after you jump down the log, in and out of the dip, and over the smaller oxer over there. Quite a problem, I think, and a very big fence, this one. After the big oxer, we gallop onto a creek, where we have to be careful because there's some very slippery bluestone in the bottom of the water. And we come up then against a fence called Bill's Billabong, which again is a little, it's really more like a puddle than a river, that runs through beneath the bank, on top of which either side are quite high posts and rails. There's an easier way on the right, which takes a little bit longer, but it's where I think I'll go because I don't think it's that much longer. The left-hand route is a little shorter, but it presents a great problem because the horse doesn't see the water until he's nearly come into taking off at the rails, at which point he might see the water and stop dead at the rails. On from there, we come to 18, 19 and 20, which are 3 log fences placed very strategically so that you have to be in great control, having galloped on over several fences earlier in the course. You've got to bring your horse right back. It would be very easy to run out and overshoot one of these 3 logs. On back across the creek over a swinging bridge and on to the coffin, which is number 22 and which we are standing in front of now. As the horse comes galloping through the trees, all he sees is a pretty innocuous, innocent-looking log. As he comes closer, he begins to get a little bit suspicious because he can't really see where he's going to land. And as he gets to within about a stride, he just sees a ditch at the bottom of a big dip. And it's into that he's frightened he may be being asked to jump. In fact, where you're asking him to jump is onto the face of this bank. Take a little scratchy stride, on over the ditch, up the far bank, and out over some quite big rails. After the coffin, you probably negotiated about 3/4 of the course. And then you run up one of your first little steep hills and jump a log with a dip the other side that looks a little bit to the horse like the coffin again. You'll probably only see the landing side of that fence on camera, but then you come up to a really big fence, the ditch and brush, and any horse that's feeling a bit tired is going to have to close his eyes and throw a big leap, because it's a big one, that. It's a fair and it's a safe fence, but it's a big one. After that, I galloped straight across the middle of the Werribee Park polo ground, hope the polo players aren't looking, and out over a big wide oxer. Again, you don't want to have a tired horse. Into the trees, up a little avenue of trees, and there you have the second last fence, which is going to prove, I think, a very difficult combination, because it has 5 different elements. So the first element, the gate, is only 11 yards to this pretty big spread fence. It looks nothing from there, but it's a good 8-9 feet wide, and after it, another 2 pretty short strides to a bunch, a rail straight in and come straight out again. Just for the moment, this might look as if horse has been through here already and not had too good a time, but in fact what's happened is the ground jury, who have the right to alter any fence they feel isn't quite fit for the stand in the competition, have decided to drop it just 2 inches. It will in effect be one rail across here, 4 yards later another rail across there, so no room for a jumping stride, just straight in and straight out. It's a very short distance. The horses have got to be very athletic to pick up their feet. Following that, one fairly good stride, not such a short one now, and out over the upright rail and right on to the far fence in the distance, which is the best sight to any rider, I can tell you, which is the last fence, in this case a log.
Attraction here at the Melbourne International 3-day horse trials at Werribee. A former world champion, she won that title in 1982, twice the European champion, 6-time winner at badminton on 6 different horses in a period of 12 years. Victorian Premier, Mr. John Cain, flags Lucinda Green away, and I'm joined now in our commentary by Australian rider Tim Stoltz. What a great sight this is.
Oh, this is a great occasion for Werribee. Lucinda Green, probably the most seasoned rider in the world, and a fantastic record behind her. She's got a tough course ahead of her, coming round towards the Olympic symbol now. This is one of the difficult fences on course. It's got an unusual distance between the first and second element. It's neither 1 nor 2 strides, so it has to be decided very early.
Oh, she's down. Oh, what a tragedy. Lucinda Green and Anchorman, they're down. They're down at the Olympic flame.
Yes, the horse comes in, he lands a bit short, takes 1, can't take off on the long stride, puts in a second one, and just can't climb out of that over the second element.
Oh, what a disappointment this is for Lucinda and for all the fans that have come out especially to see her. She's all right. Inquiring after Anchorman there, and yes, the horse is okay.
That's a sensational start to a 3-day event. The first rider only getting as far as the Olympic flame fence.
Captain Mark Phillips there with a couple of the Australian riders, Greg Watson from Queensland and Andrew Hoy.